little bit early tonight, and that's all right. Give me a second here to get all set up. Make sure I can get in here and see the comments as they come in, so I can respond to them. While I'm doing that, I'll try to speak and do things at the same time here. I will be a little choppy for a minute though. If you have never been to a live broadcast before, this is a weekly live broadcast I do pretty much every Thursday evening at 7 o'clock Central. Sometimes things get in the way, I can't make it or whatever, but for the most part I'm here most Thursday evenings, 7 o'clock Central. I do not, I gotta set my chair up a little bit here, I'm sitting down too low. I do not have a topic planned out. This is just an opportunity to just interact with you guys. You ask me anything you want to ask me. I do my best to respond to all the chats that come in or all the comments that come in during the live broadcast. And keep it family friendly is the only thing I ask. Start cussing at people, start being inappropriate, any of those things, and we will boot you out of here. But other than that, just pretty much anything's fair game, just ask away. So let's get into it real quick here. We got Billy here. Hello to you, Billy T, I think it is. William Chapman, hello from Alabama. Hello to you. And Lauren, hello, everyone. Well, hello to you, Lauren. Hey, Eric, Happy New Year to you too. And Kayla Brine is here. Happy New Year to you too, LLJ. And Jupiter, the Argentine Tegu. Good grief, that's a long name. Says, hey, Chris, great to finally be here live again. Glad to have you. Thanks for joining. Lars is here. Good evening to you, Lars. And let's see, wait for everybody to get. Hey, Hatch Poultry Farms is here. It says, Happy New Year to everyone. Happy New Year to you too. Hopefully you guys are having a great New Year so far. Kind of low key for me. I did manage to stay up till midnight and ring in the new year, but nothing too crazy. So Lauren says, Lauren says hello to Hatch. Carol, hi from Dundon, I think it is, New Zealand. Interesting. All the way, I don't know what time is it in New Zealand right now. It's got to be early morning. Well, thanks for joining us. Robert, Happy New Year to you and your family. You too, buddy. And Keith says, hi, first time here. Well, Keith, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you being here. Odai, Happy New Year to you. And Carol Rogers says, in New Zealand, it's 2 p.m. Oh, I thought it was like early morning or something, but still 2 p.m. It's, 7 o'clock p.m. here. So thanks for joining us. I appreciate you guys being here. All right, let me grab a drink here while we're waiting for some comments to come in. Knowledge, I will always plug your channel. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And Odai wants to know, how are you doing? I'm doing well. Thank you very much. I didn't quite get enough sleep last night, so I'm a little tired, a little groggy. If I'm, a little slow to respond or stumble over my words from time to time, that's probably why. But I'm not bad. I'm doing pretty good all in all. Happy New Year to you too, David. And Carol, it's 2 p.m. on the 3rd of January. Yeah, it's 7 p.m. on the 2nd of January here. William says, eggs coming from all my quail, will they slow down before long? Well, they may. It's hard to say. It depends. I mean, if you've got 14 hours a day of light on them, they'll probably keep laying unless they have some kind of stress factor. I do notice, again, when like heavy cold fronts come in, there's a drastic temperature change from like, we're in the 50s right now, and if it were to be a heavy cold front come through and drop us down into the 20s or the teens, that can get them to stop laying for a couple of days. If you don't have if you're just relying on natural light, depending on where you're located, it's winter time, so the days are pretty short right now. Then yeah, they'll probably stop laying pretty quick, and they won't pick back up until the days get a little bit longer. But if you have external lights on them, you keep it up at about 14 hours a day, they'll probably continue laying. All right, Billy says, I'm getting ready to build a big rabbit cage with 6 cages. They're going to be 3 cages on the bottom and 3 on top. Any suggestions? Let's see, 3 on the bottom, 3 on the top. The biggest suggestions I have with that is, make sure you have some kind of plan to catch the droppings underneath the cages. And you might also want to put something on the sides, especially the top cages, the sides of them, because especially bucks like to urinate over the sides of any kind of dropping pans. You don't want them urinating on the rabbits below them, of course. I would say, put something in between the cages, especially if your bucks and your does. You don't want the cages butted right up next to each other because it is possible, and it does happen. Bucks will breed does through cage walls. You don't want that to happen unexpectedly. You want to be able to plan that out, prepare for that yourself. So those would be the 2 big suggestions I'd have. I really like having, everybody always asks me, why is my roof so much higher than the top of my cages? I love having space to be able to store things up there, like, a pet carrier or water bowls when they're not being used, or nest boxes or whatever. I just put those right on top of the cages, and that room between the roof and the top of the cages gives me that space to be able to do that. So that works out well for me. You can do it however you want to, though. So those would be my suggestions for you. All right. Jupiter says, I posted earlier in the Facebook group that I sold some quail chicks 6 weeks ago, and the buyer just messaged me that they're laying already. Well, fantastic. That's always good to hear, to make sure that you sold some and they're doing well and they're starting to lay already. So good job. Jennifer says, hi, hope all is well with your rabbits. My question, do you call for vent disease or would you try to treat your doe? Oh, good question. It depends on what the vent disease is. Most of the time I would probably call. I wouldn't want to continue breeding that doe because there's a good chance you're going to just pass that disease on to all your other rabbits. And I think it's probably best to remove that doe from your breeding program. Now, call doesn't always mean kill the rabbit. It just means remove it from your breeding program. There's a good chance, again, that if you bred that doe already, that buck may be a carrier of that vent disease and pass it on to other rabbits in your rabbitry too. So that may be something you have to keep an eye on. I would probably go ahead and call, but it's up to you. You can treat it and just continue going. I mean, they're meat rabbits after all. It's not like you're breeding for future breeding stock necessarily. I would not keep any of the babies from that rabbit and use that as future breeding stock because, again, you don't want that disease to continue on and keep going. So, all right, grab another drink here. Wintertime here, and it is dry air. My skin is dry, and my throat's dry. I just deal with that all winter long. All right, Lauren says, my litter of 12 are still alive. If anyone is interested in them, let me know. Hopefully I can say that. Oh, yeah, you can absolutely say that if anybody's interested in them. I don't know where you're located, Lauren, so that's probably going to matter a little bit. You might tell us where you're located, what they are specifically, if there's anybody in your area that's looking for rabbits, and you're a member of the Facebook groups, or the Facebook group, then we've had a couple of people starting things recently where they're posting memes or they're posting their own YouTube videos or they're posting, well, that's pretty much it. Those are the top two things that have been happening. And, I do not care if you post your own YouTube videos in there. That's fine, as long as they're topical. The ones that have been posting lately have not been topical. They've been just people trying to self-promote themselves, which is okay, but not in the group. That's not what the group's set up for. So hopefully nobody's offended by that whenever I tell them, please don't post this stuff here. We had somebody post a music video that they were in the other day, which is fine, but again, it's not topical to the group. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to be a jerk about it. It's just, nobody wants that group to be set up to just start spamming with, and if I let it go too long, that's what it'll be. Everybody will be posting memes and silliness. And again, if you've got a homesteading, a farming, a gardening, a quail, a rabbit, something like that, even if it's a funny story about that, I don't mind that stuff. That doesn't bother me at all. But when it's just completely not topical to the topic of that group, which is raising our own meat, eggs, and vegetables, then it really doesn't belong in the group. So again, no offense. Hopefully nobody's upset whenever I have to, get those videos out of there or ask them to stop posting them. Not trying to be rude or anything, just trying to keep the group productive. All right. Hey, Boris, how are you? Happy New Year's to you. Happy New Year to you as well. It's one of my pet peeves to say Happy New Year's. It's only 1 year, but anyway, I do it from time to time too. Keith says, do you have the Baker Creek seed catalog this year? Yes, I do. It's right here somewhere. I think it's right here. Yep, there it is. Baker Creek seed catalog. Just got it in the mail the other day. I haven't really gone through it too much. I don't really need any seeds, but I'm still going to go through the Baker Creek seed catalog and check it out. Who knows? I may order something. I saved enough seeds last year. I shouldn't have to buy any this year. All right, Savage Gaming, good day, sir. Enjoy your night. Well, thank you so much. I hope you enjoy yours as well. Outside in Georgia says, Happy New Year. Plan to expand quail meat production this year. Have tons of eggs now. Awesome. That's a good place to be in. Excuse me. LLJ says, would you be willing to list the cage wire that you use on Amazon so that there's a percentage for you? Yeah, I'd be happy to do that, and I appreciate you asking that. But honestly, you're way better off buying cage wire locally than you are buying it on Amazon. You're going to pay way more on Amazon because it's so heavy. It costs so much to ship that you just can't compete with getting it at like a local hardware store or something like that. But I'll see what I can do. I'll see if I can find some links there. But again, I don't like to list things on Amazon and encourage people to. I mean, not you don't have to buy it through my Amazon shop, of course. But I don't like to try to encourage people to buy it that way when I know you can get a better deal locally. Same thing with dropping trays. I have lots of people ask me about the dropping trays that go under my cages. I don't use them anymore, but when I had indoor cages, I had dropping trays under them. They would ask me, where did you get those? You know, can you find them online? But they're more expensive online than they are to find at a local retailer. You can find them, and you might just check with like someplace like Tractor Supply or something like that. If they don't have them in stock, they can probably order them in for you. You won't pay shipping cost on them. They'll just be delivered, and you might get a better deal that way. So that's why I haven't listed cage wire online. It's incredibly expensive to buy online. So hopefully that makes sense. But LLJ, thank you for the recommendation, and thanks for thinking of me when it comes to giving me a percentage of sales. I appreciate that. All right, Jupiter says we had 2 hens die this week. They both looked like they were having issues at the vent, maybe trying to pass eggs that were too big. They could have been egg bound. Strange that they died within a few days of each other, though. Yeah, that is kind of strange. I mean, it does happen from time to time that you get a bird that is egg bound, and that would look like problems in the vent area. They could be prolapsed. That happens from time to time as well. It's strange that you would end up with multiple birds that happening to. If it's a continuing issue, then I would look at I would definitely look into it a lot more. I'm trying to think. I can't remember now. I have to look back at some notes that I have. When you have problems with birds getting egg bound, I can't remember. I'll have to look that up. If it's a continuing issue, hit me back up on it. I'll find the information for you, and I'll make sure. But chances are it's probably just I'll make sure I'll get the information to you what to look at and what to fix. But chances are it's probably just a freak occurrence. You're probably never going to have to deal with that again. All right. Cattery Strobel, I think it is, says, Happy New Year to you. Thank you for very informative videos. I would like to know exactly how noisy are the quail? Well, that's a good question. Whenever you have roosters, when they first come of age, about 8 weeks old, and they first find their voice and start crowing, they crow all the time. It's crazy. I mean, lots of crowing, but it's not really that loud. I keep mine in my backyard, real close to the neighbor's house, and he didn't even know I had quail back there for the longest time. I ran into him one day, didn't really know him. I just, happened to be out in the backyard. He was out in his backyard, got a chance to say hi. I always try to introduce myself to my neighbors and, get to know them a little bit. And he I was messing with the quail at the time, and he was like, what kind of birds do you have back there? And I explained it to him. He said, I heard them, and I just thought they were regular old birds. And then I got to thinking, they're coming from the same spot all the time. And I saw your hutches, and I knew you had to have something, but I didn't know what they were. They're not that loud. They sound a lot like a songbird, but they do tend to calm down after a little while. But again, depending on where you live, where you have them, it's probably not going to be a big issue. All right, Hatch Poultry says, Jupiter, sounds like prolapsed eggs. Make sure they get plenty of calcium. It helps with that. Yeah, calcium can help with that, but you can go overboard with calcium too. So again, I'd wait and see if you have any more problems with it before I try to address anything like that. Chances are it is a big issue, or it is a freak issue, and it's not going to occur again. All right. Alan says, if they have Prime, shipping is usually free. Good evening, Chris. Happy New Year. I think, Happy New Year to you too, by the way. I think you're referring to the comment about buying the cage wire online. Yeah, Prime shipping is free, but because it costs so much to ship, they jack the price of the wire up. So you get free shipping, but you're going to pay for it in a higher price for the wire than what you would buy it at a local store. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. Excuse me. Eligio, I think it is. Eligio says, hi, Chris, do you sell eggs for hatching? I do sell eggs for hatching sometimes, but there's not a huge market for around here, and I'm not set up to ship eggs. I'm not NPIP certified. That's just not my goal to become a hatchery and to sell eggs. Hatch Poultry Farms is in here, though, and they do have a 15% off discount for my viewers. If you go to any of my videos, not the live video, but any of the more recent videos, like the one that posted yesterday, and look, or I guess it wasn't yesterday, it was Tuesday. And look in the description section. There's a link in there where you can click on that, go to buy eggs, put in Slightly Rednecked at checkout, and you'll get a 15% off discount for ordering eggs from Hatch Poultry Farms. So that would be the way I would go if you're looking to buy eggs. Again, I do sell some from time to time, but I just sell them locally. There's not a big market for them, so I don't advertise them on a regular basis or do anything like that. All right. Lauren says, are we looking at, I'm not sure what this is. It says the sire is 50-50 Harlequin New Zealand, and the dame is Harlequin New Zealand Flemish Rex. Good grief, that's a big mix. And you said, yeah, it's a weird mix, but it works out. Located in Indiana, the dame usually has 10 to 13 kits per litter and a great mom. Okay, you're talking about, these are the rabbits that you were wanting to sell. Yeah, okay, got it. Now I'm with you. Sorry. So 50-50 Harlequin New Zealand, and the dame is Harlequin New Zealand Flemish Rex. So the babies would be Harlequin New Zealand Flemish Rex mixes. So yeah, a weird mix, but hey, who knows? So in what'd you say, located in Indiana. If anybody in Indiana is looking for rabbits and that sounds like your thing, then hit up Lauren, let her know, and I'm sure she'll be happy to help you out. All right, LLJ says, I'm out of luck here. Everyone has high gauge and small size. I have to get online anyway. I've tried at Tractor Supply. They don't really know what I'm talking about. LOL. Okay, that would be the first thing. Let me see what I can do to find the cage wire online, and I'll put it in my Amazon shop. But then I would still suggest going to Tractor Supply, or look it up on tractorsupply.com, and then you can get the part number on it, and go to Tractor Supply and say, this is what I need you to order for me, and they'll probably get it for you cheaper than you can buy it online. But I'll look for it, and I'll get it listed online the next day or two. All right, Mark says, thanks for all your advice. We finally had all our does give birth with a long lull in pregnancy, heat of the summer. Sterilized our bucks. Now we have 43 kits in total from 5 does. Well, nice. I'm glad to hear that things are picking up for you. Says, can't wait for harvesting day. Yeah, I know what you mean. I've been there before. It's yeah, heat of summer can do, it can be pretty brutal on your bucks sometimes. It doesn't always happen. It's not a guarantee, but a lot of bucks can go sterile when the temperatures jump above about 80 degrees Fahrenheit. No, they'll, it's temporary. It's not a permanent thing, of course, but it takes them a little while to recover from that. So like you said, it could be a long lull in the pregnancies before you get kits from them. I'm glad things are picking back up for you. All right, Jackie says, hi, I'm in Michigan and I can't find non-GMO rabbit food. Does anyone know where I can order from, or perhaps a store in Michigan? Happy New Year to all. Oh, good question. I don't know where you can order non-GMO rabbit food from. I don't really pay attention to that too much, and I just don't worry about it myself. So I don't really keep track of non-GMO rabbit food. I don't know that. I'm trying to think of what it goes into rabbit food that would be a GMO crop. I don't know that there's, I mean, they're mostly alfalfa based, and as far as I know, there are no GMO alfalfa. Maybe there are. I don't know, honestly. But I don't know that it's a big concern. You're going to pay a lot more for non-GMO food. I mean, just because it has a label on it, if for no other reason. But I don't know a place to get it online. I'm sorry. I would have to research that a little bit for you. All right. Jupiter says, thank you, Chris. I appreciate you. Oh, absolutely, man. You're no problem. You are absolutely welcome. All right. Rebecca says, I had 2 quail die at different times, weeks apart. They were seemingly healthy, active hens with no extra lighting for the season. The only similarity was the weather was warmed quite a bit. Yeah, I mean, it could be weather related. You could have issues with, being stressed from the weather, especially if they are in full sun and don't have a way to get out of it or get in the shade, or if they're in, full wind where they don't have a way to get out of the wind. Those things can do some pretty, they can be pretty rough on your birds. But I mean, who knows? There are all kinds of little problems that can happen with birds. Sometimes birds just die. It may be completely unrelated issues. You never know. But I don't know. It could be that the weather, I very seldom, if ever, lose birds to the heat of summer or the cold of winter. I mean, it's happened a time or two here or there, but not very often. So I wouldn't think that would be a big issue with them. All right. Rizal says, if anyone's looking for an automatic light, I found a Wi-Fi alert light, have scheduled timing. They also have smart plug that you can connect with existing bulb. Okay, you found a Wi-Fi Arlect, I think is what it says. Arlect light, have scheduled timing. Okay. Yeah, if you have power to your coop or to your, wherever you keep your quail, then you can just get a little plug in the wall. It's on a timer, and you can set that. That's pretty easy, and they're cheap. They're like $5 at Walmart. So that's the way to go. I mean, you can just plug any light into it, and you can put it on a timer pretty easily. If you don't have power out to your coops, though, that doesn't do you any good. I am still working on bringing. I keep saying this. It's going to be a couple of weeks, and it's been more than a couple of weeks. But hopefully, within the next week or two, couple of weeks, I'm going to be launching the Kickstarter for my solar light, which is solar powered on a timer. And as far as I know, there's not one on the market anywhere. I've not been able to find one. That's why I went about developing one. I've got a supplier our manufacturer that can manufacture it for me. I just can't afford to pay for you have to buy like 1,000 units at a time. They won't manufacture just 5 or 10. So I have to run a Kickstarter to get the funds to make the bulk order to bring it to market. So, guys, keep an eye out for that. I will have that running in the next couple of weeks. If you're interested in that, then I'll let you know, and jump in, help us get the Kickstarter. And again, let me grab a drink. Again, if you're not familiar with Kickstarter, there is no risk to you with Kickstarter. If you decide, yeah, that's a light I would like, so you pledge to support me through that. If we meet our funds, or if we meet our goal, then you're charged that amount of money, and you get the product when it comes out. Now, it'll be a couple of months down the road before the product comes out, but you get the product. You're basically pre-ordering it. But if we don't meet our funding goal, and it'll run for like 30 days, and if we don't meet our funding goal, then you're not charged anything at all. We just don't get the product. It's just the way it goes. So there's no risk to you at all for that. So again, if you're interested in that, you can sign up here. I'll put a link down below. Let me type it in real quick. You can sign up and get notified. I will not spam you. I won't sell your email address or anything like that. So, all right, I stuck that in there. So you guys can go to that link right there if you want to, and sign up to get notified when the Kickstarter goes live. Okay, where are we at here? All right, Jason says, finally made it for a live broadcast. Well, thanks for joining us, buddy. I appreciate it. And Meriton Show says, hello from Romania. We got people from all over the place here. Thank you for joining us. What time is it in Romania right now, I wonder? And what day is it? Is it the second or it's probably the third in Romania, and it's probably what, late afternoon, early evening? Anyway, Topher says, hello to you. And Grinnin1 says, this is my third bird that is picking at itself just below its beak on its breast. It's picking so much that it's flipping itself over. No obvious reason. And we've even tried DE. Any suggestions? It's picking itself, picking feathers off its chest. I'm guessing what you're saying. That's very strange. I don't know that I've ever run into that. My initial thought would be maybe look at the protein levels in your feed. A lot of the times when birds are low on protein and they need more protein, they'll start picking feathers, but usually it's off other birds. It's not off themselves. But they will start picking feathers off other birds. Now, the other thing is, are you sure it's not? How is it picking itself just below its beak? I wonder. I mean, how's it getting to that area to pick on itself? You sure it's not other birds picking on it, or you sure the bird's not molting, where it's just losing some feathers because it's molting? Would be the other things. But flipping itself over, that seems kind of odd. I'm not sure what to tell you about that. You got me stumped on that one. I'm sorry. Again, I would start by looking at the protein. If it's not above like 22, 23%, you might look at trying to bump the protein levels up a little bit and see if that helps with it. That's my only guess at this point. All right. Jupiter says, Chris, I'm curious, how old are you, if I may ask? Sometimes you mention getting older, but you look young to me. Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I am 45 years old, almost 46. I'll be 46 in February. So I'm not that old, but I can definitely tell a difference. I mean, I tell you what, you guys that are young right now, I didn't believe it. But once you hit 40, it's like, I mean, it's just immediate. Once you hit 40, you can feel your body, you can feel age catching up with you. It is definitely a change. But I'm hanging in there. I'm doing all right. So no complaints. All right. Gary B says, hello all, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too. Creating Julie Silversmith. All right, says grinning one is the chicken bleeding. Maybe pick no more. Pick no more. Oh, that's a good suggestion too. All right, Del Rey says hello from Arkansas. Hello to you. All right, Nathan. I don't know if you saw this earlier, but you're getting me with my pet peeve there. It says Happy New Year's. It's only 1 year, man. It's Happy New Year, but I'm just giving you a hard time. It's okay. I make plenty of mistakes myself, but I did mention that earlier. I said it myself. Happy New Year to you too, buddy. And you said, let's see, I really appreciate your videos and all the information you get from them. I am currently building 2 quail hutches following your design. Well, good. Hopefully it works out well. Those hutches have served me really, really well. Pretty happy with them myself, so hopefully you find them pretty useful for you too. All right. Creating Julie says rat snakes choked our chickens to death in very hot weather. Yeah, that could happen, but chances are they'd eat the birds. They wouldn't just kill them and then leave them there and go away. But that's a good point. Rat snakes will do that. Kathy says, Happy New Year, all. Hope everyone has a fantastic year. Thank you, Kathy. We hope you do too. All right. March Show says 2:20 or Marathon Show. I think I got it right. 2:22 is the time in Romania. 2:22 p.m. or a.m. I'm guessing p.m. 2:22 in the afternoon. That'd be my guess. So yeah, different time though. But thanks for joining us either way. Christian says, Chris, they didn't have any rabbits at the butcher, but they had pigeon. Really interesting. Who knows? Give it a try. It's probably pretty good. All right, Jupiter says, LOL, my husband just turned 38. He feels great. Maybe I won't warn I won't warn him that he only has 2 years left. Yeah. And it's not like you automatically feel bad when you hit 40, but I can definitely tell a difference. I got to sleep a little bit more. I can't stay out. I find myself like sitting on the couch at 9 o'clock at night, and I'm just can't keep my eyes open. I feel like such an old man that way. But it's not that bad. Don't get me wrong. I'm not really. Right. Christian says, pigeon's very tough and it had a taste of liver. Yeah, it's a dove basically is what they are. And dove, they do taste similar to liver. I think quail have a very similar taste to liver. I mean, it's not strong. It's not strong like liver is, but it is very similar. And I would think pigeon would be very similar to that too. I don't know. All right. Oh, I just splashed soda on my glasses. All right. Oh, what am I doing trying to read comments without my glasses on? All right, there we go. Now we can read again. Mark says, yeah, living in California the last summer was really harsh on our bucks. It reached over 90 a couple of days. Luckily, they bounced back. Maybe one day I will build or buy a shack for them. Yeah, I think it depends on than others. And of course, rabbits with longer ears are more heat tolerant usually. That's what they use to kind of cool themselves with. But I think it probably has something to do with, if you live in California where it doesn't generations after generation after generation, then they're kind of acclimated to that. Whereas, like here in Missouri, for example, we get well over 90 degrees most summers. We're up in the hundreds, usually for extended period of time. And the rabbits that are raised around here, I've never had a buck go sterile. I mean, it can happen, but I've never had it happen, even with 100-degree temperature outside. Now, I don't typically breed them when it's 100 degrees outside, but I bred them shortly after it's been 100 degrees and never had a problem. So I think it probably is something to do with that. All right. Tundmatu2 says, hi from Estonia. It's 3:30 a.m. here, and I'm going on a trip to Finland. Nice. Says, thanks for your tips last year. Quail do fine in extreme cold. They do, actually. Yeah, I'm not sure where Estonia is exactly. My geography's not the best, but I do know where Finland is. Hopefully you have a good time on your trip, and thanks for joining us at 3:30 in the morning. Good grief, man. Well, I guess I get up at 3:30 in the morning sometimes, but who knows. Anyway, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. All right, Gary B says, folks, be sure to hit the thumbs up. Thank you so much, Gary. I appreciate that. All right, Christian says, hey, Chris, do you plan on expanding your rabbits or quail or get chicken? Good question. I probably won't expand the rabbits or the quail much. Now, I am in the lookout for a good, what I'm looking for is some Tamuk rabbits, T-A-M-U-K. If you're not familiar with those, they're New Zealand white, but they're a specific breed, a Texas A&M breed of rabbit that is very heat tolerant, produces big litters, just a great breeding rabbit. So I'm looking for a trio of those, and if I can find those, then I'll expand from the 1 doe, 1 buck I have now to 1 buck and 2 does. But I probably won't expand much past that. I just don't need more rabbit meat than that. As far as the quails, I probably won't be expanding them much either. They do a pretty good job. I can hatch out pretty much as many quail as I want to with the birds I have. So that's working out pretty well. I am thinking seriously about doing, maybe some meat chickens in the spring. So stay tuned. You guys will know if I do. I'll have to build some, chicken tractors and things like that. But I'm not sure if I'm going to do that yet or not. But I'm thinking seriously about it. So who knows? All right. How are we doing on time here? Right at a half an hour. Excuse me. Very dry in my throat tonight. All right, Kayla says, hi, Chris. Have a doe that does not like my new buck. Is there anything I can do to get her to lift for him? Oh, boy, that's the most common question we get probably, is that your doe doesn't want to breed. And it's probably nothing to do with the buck itself. It's just some does are like that. There's a couple of things that you can do. What I usually suggest when does are reluctant to breed, that's, again, the most common problem you're going to run into with breeding. And try multiple times. Try again. Try in the morning, try in the evening. Give them 15 minutes. And if they don't breed, take the doe back to her cage, and then come back in the evening and throw her back in there for another 15 minutes, and then take her back to her cage, and then do it again the next morning, and the next evening, and the next morning, and the next evening. Usually 4 or 5 times, she'll lift for him, and she'll be ready to breed at that point. If that doesn't work, a couple of things you might do is try adding some light, so that you can extend the daylight, kind of like with quail. Most animals are affected by the amount of light that they get. So if you can extend the days to about 13 hours a day, somewhere right around in there, then that may help put her more in the mood. And the other thing that people report all the time that works very, very well, I've never tried it myself. I don't know why it would work, but everybody says it does, and everybody says they get great results from it, is to put her like in a pet carrier or something, throw her in your car and drive her around the block a couple of times, and then come back and put her in the cage with the buck. People say it works like magic. So try that out and see if that works. Those would be my suggestions for that. Hopefully it helps. All right, Verna says, I made it late, but here. Happy New Year, Chris, and everyone. Happy New Year to you too. And don't worry, we're not keeping tabs on you, so we're not going to mark you tardy or anything. Jupiter says, have you had any time to practice your Spanish lately? Boy, not enough. So many things going on right now, and just too much, just never enough time to do it. I still talk to my, my buddy in Chile, but I don't talk to him enough. I don't get a chance to practice my Spanish nearly enough, and I don't get a chance to study it as much as I should. So no, I'm not doing very well with that right now. I haven't really progressed anywhere past past where I am, or was about a month ago. I'm still about the same. I do find that like whenever somebody comes on TV and they're speaking Spanish, I can usually understand about, I don't know, 75% of what they say, maybe something like that, as long as they're not talking too fast, which is funny, I know, because I talk fast, way too fast. But when I'm listening to somebody in another language, it's very difficult for me to keep up with them. But anyway, all right. R.L. Sanders says, is that an archery case behind you, cross or compound? You mean right here? No, that's just a gun case. That's like a shotgun case. I do have a bow over in the corner back there. I don't think you guys can see it on camera, but it's an old compound bow. It was my dad's. It's probably from the 70s, and I'm no good with that. But I do have a crossbow. My wife bought me for my birthday last year, so I went bow hunting this year. Did not see a single deer while I was bow hunting. Got one the first day of rifle season. Didn't see a single one while I was. Well, I take that back. I did see a small doe and one deer way off in the field, way off. But that was it. I didn't get a chance to shoot a deer with the bow. All right. Creating Julie says, I have 3 New Zealand Blues in North Texas. Nice. I don't know if that means you're ready to sell them, or you want to sell them, or if you're just saying that's what you have. Either way, if you're looking to sell them and anybody's in North Texas and wants them, then talk to Creating Julie. All right. Samurai Falcon says, hi, how are you doing? I'm doing well, thank you. Where are we at here? Christian says, how about duck meat? How about duck meat? I think about it. Wait, I think you're asking me, what do I think about duck meat? I've actually never eaten duck. I imagine it would be kind of a darker meat as well. I don't know. I imagine it's pretty good. but I've never tried it, never had the opportunity. Charger says, should I watch out for inbreeding with Coturnix quail? If so, how do you keep tabs on the family tree? Good question. Inbreeding's not really a big concern with your birds. It's almost impossible to keep track of who the father is and who the mother is of each egg anyway. So it'd be very, very hard to keep, to keep it from happening, I guess is what I'm saying. But it's not a big concern. What I typically do is um, just bring some new blood in every couple of years, 2 or 3 years. Bring some roosters in or something like that from another source, and then you don't have to worry about it. It's really not a big issue, as long as you do that. Like I said, every couple of years, 3, 4 years, you could probably even go 5 or 6 years if you needed to, and you're probably never going to run into any problems. All right, Jose says, I bred my doe. It's been 33 days today. There's still no babies, but my doe is urinating blood. Is that normal? No, it's not normal for them to be urinating blood, but are you sure it's blood? It is normal for the feed that they're eating. And it may not even be pink or red food that they're eating. They're just pigmentation in the food can cause them to expel that in their urine and look like blood, pink or red. So it may not be blood. If it is blood, some kind of problem or something like that, I would keep a very close eye on her for the next day or two. It's not unheard of for does to go 35 days before they give birth. So, there's nothing to worry about with just 33 days and not having babies yet. But if it really is blood in the urine, there may be a big problem there that you may have to keep an eye on. And unfortunately, there may not be much you can do about it without taking her to a vet. I don't know that there's anything you can do to fix it. And I mean, you can treat her for like urinary tract infection with antibiotics and those kinds of things. Watch her closely. If she starts acting lethargic, not wanting to eat, not wanting to drink, still hasn't had her babies, that would be a sign that there's a problem. You need to do something. All right. Oh, I think you're asking me. Like, let's see. What did we say? Oh, okay, Christian. I misread your comment earlier. You're saying, what about meat ducks? Okay. Instead of running meat chickens, you want to see if I meat ducks. That's a good thought too. Who knows? Maybe I'll do that. It just might be a little bit easier and simpler to do, but who knows? Maybe I'll get ducks instead. All right. Kathy says, ooh, duck. That would be interesting to watch. I'm wanting to get to in the spring. Yeah, I wouldn't mind having a couple of laying ducks and get some duck eggs. Duck eggs are fantastic. Oh, the tips for breeding your duck. You're absolutely welcome. No problem. All right, Keith says, I have chickens that are very good A layers. I would recommend having them. Yeah, well, if I do, oh, I'm sorry, I got distracted by another comment. If I do run chickens, right now I'm looking at meat chickens. So that's what I would be raising them for. And I'd probably do, oh, I'm sorry, guys, we're buffering real bad. Let me try something here, see if I can, I don't know if I can fix it right now. Hopefully it picks up. I'm sorry. Typically, it happens from time to time. I have some internet problems every once in a while. Hopefully it smooths out. I'm sorry, guys. I wish I could fix it. I can't. All right. Anyway, back to the comment about about chickens. Yeah, again, I'm going to be, if I do anything, I'll be running meat chickens. I won't be laying chickens. So I appreciate the advice, but it's, that's just the way it's going to be. It's going to be meat chickens this time. I may do some laying chickens at some point in the future. Who knows? And Creating Julie says, no, just bragging. I can breed. No, just bragging about your 3 New Zealand blues, not looking to sell them, just bragging about them. So nice. New Zealand blues are an interesting rabbit. All right. Mario says, hi, Chris from El Paso, Texas. Hello to you. Glad you could make it. Okay, Christian, I figured that out now. You're saying, sorry, I meant to say consider raising meat ducks. Yeah, I figured that out. I went back and read it again. I told you, get enough sleep last night. I stayed up too late. Well, I didn't stay up too late. I got up too early. But it's affecting me now, but that's how. All right. Hatch poultry, meat chickens, Chris. Yeah. Yeah, I, with a wink wink. So if I need to order chickens, that's where I order them from, huh? Yeah, I figure I could process them pretty easily. They're not that hard. I processed chicken before, so kind of know what you have to do with that. But thanks for the advice. I appreciate it. Robert says, I had a virgin buck that when I tried to use him for breeding, he mounts the doe and starts to do the act, but he starts biting them so hard that he's drawing blood, and it causes the doe not to breed. Yeah, interesting. I've had bucks that do that before. They're just kind of a little too rough, and after a while, they calm down. They're not nearly as aggressive about it as when they first start. But yeah, it happens from time to time. It's kind of an unfortunate place to be in. Hopefully, he'll calm down for you pretty quick. All right, where we at here with Matthew says ducks are great. They have Anaconda and Indian. Oh, Anaconda. Okay, yeah, Anaconda and Indian runner ducks. They're just great to be around. Yeah, I wouldn't mind getting a couple of ducks. I'd have to build a pen for them though. Like I said, I live in town, so I would have to build a pen. I wouldn't be able to just run them in the backyard. The dog would run them to death. So not good. But who knows? Maybe I'll add that. Who knows? We'll see. Brittany says Muscovy ducks are amazing. We use them to keep the flies down under our quail cages. Great hunter and no quack. Also, their meat is really good. I've heard that about Muscovy ducks, that they are fantastic. They're different than regular ducks. They have almost like claws talons, I should say, instead of real webbed feet like most ducks do, and they'll actually roost, whereas most ducks won't roost. So they're completely different than the other types of ducks that you would raise. I may look into Muscovies at one time. I thought about, so I may look into those as well. Problem would be keeping them here. Like I said, I have to build some kind of pen to keep them from flying away or getting in the neighbor's yard and causing chaos. All right. Johan's piece says, "Hey Chris, Happy New Year to you and your family and everyone in chat. Can you recommend a source for jumbo quail hatching eggs that ships internationally? Thank you for all your help. All the best." I wish I had somebody that shipped internationally. I don't know of anybody, and I don't know that you can ship internationally. Just the time that it takes to ship internationally just kind of makes eggs not viable for that. I wish I did, but and if I come across somebody, be sure I'm going to do a video on that and make sure I announce that to you guys. But I don't know anybody that ships internationally. All right. Gary B says, had Indian runners. Unfortunately, coyotes jumped the fence and killed my laying ducks. Have one male and one female left. That is unfortunate. I'm sorry to hear that. Don't think I'd have to worry too much about coyotes here. We have coyotes, but and I can hear them sometimes from my backyard, but they're a ways off, and very seldom do they come, this far into town. Just them. When they lay their ducks in general, they don't tend to lay in nests, just lay wherever. All right, Mark says, duck is something I want to try too, but the wife hates their pee smell, and they need water. If we can raise them on wire like rabbits, we would be okay with them. Yeah, not really the best to raise them on wire. They do need water, but really all they need is enough to get their heads in. They don't need a pond to swim in or a pool, necessarily. They don't have to swim. They enjoy it, but they don't have to. It's not a requirement. They need to be able to get their heads underwater, though. They need to be able to wash their beaks, their bills out. And all right. Cody says, "Hey, buddy, just wanted to thank you for the discount. Ordered me 50 quail eggs." Awesome. Glad to hear it, Cody. Hopefully they do really well for you. Look at that. I'm actually ahead of the comments today. I have caught up with them all. What are we doing on time? We got 15 minutes left. All right. TH55269 says, "Is there any relationship from egg size to quail size at 10 weeks old? My jumbo started laying at 6 weeks with some frighteningly large eggs, and others are tiny." Not really. What you will find is that when they first start laying, you're going to get all kinds of weird eggs. Great big, huge eggs, little bitty, tiny eggs, eggs with no shells on them. That's really common when they first start laying, and especially if they start laying at like 6 weeks old. That's a little bit early for them. So it's pretty common to get those weird kind of eggs, but it doesn't correlate to anything with the bird. It's just they'll calm down and give them a week or two, and then they'll start laying normal size eggs pretty regularly. It's not really anything to do with the size of the bird. All right. Matthew McLeod says, "What do you think about Brahmas for meat chickens?" I don't know, Ross. They are just, they're just highly productive birds. 8 weeks to butcher, roughly. Very good feed to weight conversion. I haven't looked into Brahmas enough to know if they'd make a good meat chicken or not. So I may have to look into that, though. We'll see. All right, Brittany says, our Muscovies are in dog kennel pens. We put the quail cages in the middle. We have too many fox to free range. I definitely recommend. Yeah, I've been looking on like Craigslist for some dog kennels. If I find a couple of them at a good price, I might pick up a couple just to prepare for that kind of thing because I think they'd make great pens for a couple of ducks. All right, Jupiter says, well, I can keep bugging you with more random questions, but I didn't want to keep annoying. You're not getting annoying, don't worry. I mean, that's what the live broadcast is for me to interact with you guys, for questions to get asked, all those kinds of things. All right, Verna says, Chris, my quail started hatching on the 29th, but on the 30th, I lost electricity for over 3 hours. The babies survived, but none have hatched since then. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Let's see, the 29th, the 30th, the 31st, the 1st, the 2nd. That's only, I'd give them another day or two before I give up on them. But yeah, that, losing the electricity for over 3 hours during that time frame, that may have affected them a little bit. So, good luck. Hopefully you get some more that hatch out of it. I'd give them, just like I said, another couple of days before I give up on them completely. All right. Jupiter says, how's your wife doing? She's doing very well, thank you. I'm assuming you're asking about her health. Some of you guys know my wife went through, just a string of health problems with, first she had to have a hysterectomy because they found precancerous cells. But they left her ovaries, so she didn't have to go through menopause. And then she came down with breast cancer. So it was a double mastectomy, and thank God we caught it early. And she didn't have to have chemotherapy, just radiation treatment. But that's all done now. She's on like some kind of medication, estrogen blocker, because that's the kind of cancer she had. But that's it. She's taking a pill for it every day, and that's all she's got to do now. And then after that, they decided, well, they had to go ahead and go take her ovaries because of the type of cancer it was. So now she's had to deal with menopause a little bit, but she's doing okay with that. Some hot flashes here and there, but doing okay. And then it was her gallbladder had to be taken out, and there's been 5 or 6 surgeries in the last year and a half, but so far she's doing really well right now. So I hope that keeps up. All right, Charger says, how old should quail be before I start saving eggs for hatching? Oh, good question. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted by the other comments. Let me focus on the one I'm trying to answer. Okay, how old should the quail be before I start saving eggs for hatching? It's not really about how old the quail are. It's really about how long they've been laying. And assuming that your roosters are breeding and you're getting fertile eggs, what you usually notice is the roosters start crowing first, and that means they're ready to breed. And then the hens start laying eggs. And I usually give them about 2 weeks before I consider the eggs fertile. Now you can check for fertility. Just grab a handful of eggs, like if you're getting 5 eggs a day. For one day, take those eggs in and break them open and dump them in a bowl and see if they're fertile or not. And you just look for, there's going to be a little spot on the egg itself, on the yolk itself. That just indicates that it's a mature egg. But if you see a faint ring around it, it'll look like a bullseye, a faint ring around that little spot on the yolk, that means it's a fertile egg. So if you pull 5 eggs and all 5 of them are fertile, you're ready to start incubating. If you pull 5 eggs and one of them's fertile, give them a little bit longer. But if you pull 5 eggs and 4 of them are fertile, I'd still consider that pretty good odds, and I'd go ahead and start incubating at that point. But usually it's about 2 weeks from the time they start laying. So hopefully that helps. All right, Kathy says, today is day 31 and still no kits. Hopefully any day now. I got 3 fall-offs and on 3 does, so I know they're pregnant, but haven't kindled yet. Well, hopefully they're pregnant, but day 31's not that late. Give them a day or two. Chances are they'll have their babies tonight because you asked about it. So who knows? Rabbits tend to do that kind of crazy stuff. But yeah, day 31 on all 3 is a little bit odd, but I wouldn't count them not pregnant till at least day 35 or day 36. All right, Wild Edibles says, my New Zealand black doe had 1 New Zealand blue out of 13. The rest were black, and are blue ones. Oh, and are the blue ones more rare? Yeah, I think black is the dominant color there. I'm not a genetics expert, but I think black is the dominant color there. So if you're breeding together rabbits they may be, like if we're breeding a New Zealand blue, you said you bred a New Zealand black doe and a New Zealand blue, I'm guessing, I don't know. Anyway, then most of the babies are going to be black. It's going to be rare for them to throw a blue one. It's just a recessive trait. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, Brittany says, just getting into meat rabbits, and I know you normally breed in the winter and not summer. We live in Minnesota, and our temperatures really dip. Is it that? Is that anything to be concerned about? I have a problem with rabbits in the wintertime. Keep an eye on the doe when about the time that she's ready to give birth. Make sure she has her babies in the nest box. But as long as she does, it's never been a problem for me. Now we don't get quite as cold as you do. We get down to 0 degrees Fahrenheit or slightly below, but it doesn't usually stay there for extended periods of time. So again, not a big deal for me. But you may want to keep an eye on it. And in Minnesota, you may want to breed in the summertime. Probably doesn't get as hot there as it does here, or at least not stay hot as long. I just don't feel right with excuse me, I'm drying out again. I just don't feel right with giving the with breeding the rabbits when it's like 100 degrees out and it's going to be 100 degrees for the next month. I just think they're going to be miserable with that, so I give them a little bit of a break from that. Hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, I would say I wouldn't hesitate to go ahead and try to breed them in the winter there if it was me. Again, you just got to keep an eye on her about the time that she's ready to give birth. Make sure she has them in the nest box. If she doesn't, pick them up as quick as you can, put them in the nest box, and they're usually going to be just fine. All right, where are we at? Mark says, do Muscovy ducks fly? Are they flightless ducks? Are they good for meat or eggs? Well, they're not flightless ducks. No, I mean you can clip their wings and stuff, but no, they fly. And they're pretty good flyers actually. So that would be something to be concerned about. That they are good for meat. I don't know that they're the best laying duck out there, but they will lay. So I mean in that sense they're good for eggs too. But if you're looking strictly for egg production, there may be better ducks to get for egg production. All right, Matt says, is it normal to have quail that keeps really hurting other quail? I have 5 females and 2 males in the pen, and it just killed a male today. Could it be a female doing this? Yeah, it could absolutely be a female doing that. A lot of times the hens are more aggressive than the roosters are. And when you say, is it normal? Figure out which one of it is that's being aggressive, especially if it's killing other birds. And I would call it. I would remove it from your flock. I don't like to have that kind of aggression in my birds. That's just the way I would handle it, though. Wild Edibles says, wow, hope she feels better soon. Well, thank you, Wild Edibles. She's actually feeling pretty good now. So I think we're past the worst of it, at least for now anyway. Hatch Poultry says, we're all praying for you guys. Hope everything gets better soon. Thank you guys for the prayers. I do appreciate that. It does help. I mean, I'm a strong believer in the power of prayer. And but again, God has been answering our prayers. Praise to God, because it could have been so much worse. I mean, she's been through 5 surgeries or so in the last year and a half, and really has recovered remarkably from all of them. So again, it could be so much worse. All right. Mark says, best of luck in the new year and God bless your family. Thank you so much. Best of luck to you too. We're getting close on time. We got about 5 minutes left here. All right. Shenardison says, a chick escaped her brooder last night, which I kept in the back room, and our German Shepherd wanted to play with it. Yeah, I can imagine. Says, I got the chick back undamaged, but sopping wet. I stuck it back in the brooder. Good luck. I hope it made it, because a lot of times when they get wet like that, they're going to have a hard time staying warm, and they can chill and they can die from the chill. But as long as it dried off okay, it's probably going to be just fine. All right, Jason says, my thoughts, I'm only having about 25% hatch rate every week. The eggs are fertile, but they don't hatch out. Are you sure the eggs that aren't hatching are fertile would be the first thing. If you are sure about that, the number one thing to look at is temperature, especially if you have a still air incubator. There may be hot spots in your incubator where it's not heating evenly. That may be why you're having a little bit of a low hatch rate. But again, the biggest thing to look at is temperature. It's not uncommon for the styrofoam incubators for the thermostats to be off just a degree or two one way or the other, and that can make a big impact on your hatch rate. So I would always suggest getting a couple of non-digital meat thermometers that can be calibrated. Make sure they'll read below 100 degrees. Actually, make sure they go down to 0 degrees. Makes it a lot easier. And then calibrate those thermometers. Make sure they're accurate. Always get 2, because if you just have one, you don't know if it's the incubator or the thermometer that's correct. But if you have 2 thermometers, they're calibrated, and they're both reading the same, and your incubator is off, or if your incubator and one of the incubators is reading the same, but the other thermometer is off, you can kind of bet that, those are the accurate ones, if that makes sense. And then you can adjust your incubator accordingly. So if you find out that your incubator's, at 99.5, it's actually 101, you just set it down 2 degrees lower. Is that right? 99, 100. Yeah, 2 degrees. You would just set it 2 degrees lower. So you would set it at like 97.9. Hopefully that makes sense. I seem like a car salesman, huh? We'll get to that comment here in a second. Let me get through the others or I'll lose track. Wild Edible says, wow, here's hoping she has great healing this year. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Shenardison says, seems fine this morning, talking about the chick that got out. Good. That's a good sign. Probably doing okay then. All right. James says, hey, Chris, thanks for all the info on the rabbit. You helped me out a lot. I also messaged you a lot and sent you pictures, and you always got back to me. Thanks again. Yeah, sometimes on Messenger, I'm a little slow to respond on that. I apologize for that. I do try to respond. Sometimes it's just so much to keep up with that I'm a little bit slow to respond to that. I've been a little bit slow on comments on videos lately too, but I still try to get to them eventually. All right, and you're absolutely welcome, by the way. TH55269 says, my jumbo started laying at 6 weeks. They're almost 9 weeks now, but the colored birds have only laid a few eggs and crow very little, if any of this is normal. They started laying at 6 weeks. They're almost 9 weeks, but the colored birds have only laid a few eggs and they crow very little. That's not abnormal at all. Sounds like you had a couple that, the jumbos just matured a little bit faster. 6 weeks pretty early. Usually you're looking at 8 to 10 weeks before they start laying and crowing. So your other birds are 9 weeks old right now. They've laid a few eggs. They're crowing very little. They're just coming of age. Give them a little bit of time. It's pretty normal. All right. Kathy says, actually all 4 does are still waiting, but only one had one fall off. I know that was part of a previous conversation, Kathy, but I lost track of what we were talking about. I'm sorry. And Wild Edibles says, nope, New Zealand black doe in California, broken buck. Oh, that's about the blues, the one that threw the blue. Well, they probably had recessive traits for that. That's why you ended up with one blue. But you're still, even with rabbits that have recessive traits, it's still only about a 25% chance at best that you're going to end up with any blues in your litter. All right. Orca Lover says, what should you feed a nursing rabbit? Well, I feed my rabbits pellets. My nursing rabbits get the same pellets that all the other rabbits do. They just get an unlimited supply, so I don't limit how much they get. They get their time, but that's it. I do feed my rabbits a 19% alfalfa-based pellet. It's 19% protein. Jill Hall says, Rowans don't fly, Rowan ducks. And what causes soft egg shells in quail? Okay. Could be a couple of reasons for it, and that's good to know. I'll have to look into those. That may be something to get for sure. Soft eggshells in quail can be a couple of things. First of all, if you're just getting one soft eggshell, don't worry about it. It's a common thing. It happens. It's nothing to be concerned about, especially when the birds first start laying. It's just normal. It's going to happen. It's no big deal. If it's an ongoing, continuing issue with most of your birds, then it's probably a calcium deficiency, and you need to look at your calcium levels. Quail need about 1.5 to 2.5% calcium in their diet. And if you look at your, the nutritional information on your feed sack, there should be a tag on there that tells you what the protein and the calcium levels are. If it's below 1.5%, then you may need to add some calcium. But do that in a separate container. Don't mix it in with their feed. Put it in a separate container, crushed oyster shell or something like that, and let them get free choice. They'll eat as much as they need of that, and they won't overeat on it. You don't want to give them too much calcium, because then you end up with thick shells. It makes it really hard for the eggs to hatch whenever you do incubate them. So hopefully that helps. All right, we got to get this wrapped up. So hopefully next week my voice is a little stronger. I'm having a hard time talking all night tonight. All right, I can't look at any more comments. Somebody did say I seem like a car salesman. Well, I spent my life in sales, but I work for a call center. So I don't sell cars, but and I don't actually sell anything anymore. But I did spend a long time as a salesperson on the phone. So maybe that's why I sound like a salesman. Who knows? But anyway, I got to get this wrapped up, guys. Got to go spend some time with the wife and the family. If I didn't get to your comment in here, I'm sorry. I apologize for that. I do my best to get to them all, but at some points I just got to call it quits, because otherwise I'll keep going all night long. Thanks for joining us tonight, guys. I appreciate that. I enjoy hanging out with you guys every week. Hopefully we'll see you guys again next week. At this point, it looks like I'll be good to go for next week's live broadcast. Thank you for watching, and as always, God bless. We will see you guys then. Take care.